Welcome to the Spiral Up podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Wieme, a peak performance coach and business strategist dedicated to helping you see what's possible within you, the blind spots that are holding you back, and the solutions to ensure success and fulfillment without the hustle. I use my secret sauce of metaphysics, brain science, and scripture to work with God to manifest your ideal life and business. If you're ready to create massive forward momentum in your business and bust through the blocks that drag you down, join me on the Spiral Up journey and create the clarity, confidence, and consistency to become the CEO that lives your life by design. It's time to create the sustainable impact, income, and time freedom you desire faster. Now is the time to spiral up. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Spiral Up podcast. I am your host, Dr. Wieme, and it is so fun for me to introduce you a friend, a client of mine, Tina Clarke. You guys, she is a phenomenal woman. We actually met because I was a guest on Tina's podcast, and so we'll make a quick plug for that. And the more that we talked about that, the more that she's like, hey, I need to know more about what you're doing. And so she became one of my Spiral Up clients, and we got to know each other even better. And I knew that I had to have her on the show because she is so unbelievably aligned with the things that I do, specifically when it comes to recognizing that we have blocks to our manifestation. And much of that has to do with energetic blocks. And when we want to manifest a better life, when we want to manifest better energy, relationships, businesses, all those things, there are things that are there's blocks that are getting in the way of that. And Tina really helps with that. And so Tina, I'm so excited that you're here.
Yeah, it's so good to see you. I always love talking with you, Michelle. It's like a big battery charge boost. The energy is so good. And we never want to stop talking, y'all. Like we're always like, oh, well, I gotta go.
It's totally true. It's totally true. So Tina, why don't you, I feel like I have really gotten away from reading like bios for people because I find that it's so much more fun to let you light up. So I want you to tell us like what makes you the most passionate? Like, how do you love helping people? What lights you up?
Well, I'm one of those people that like to be of service and helping people, and that's what makes me happiest. And I love to see people transform. And the way I help people do that is with Reiki, energy healing, shamanic healing, and all those things. So what keeps me going, and I've been doing this professionally for 11 years, is I notice the difference in people, and literally after 1 hour session, like they'll come in physically, you can tell they're not feeling great. I've had clients come in crying from the get-go. I mean, they're stressed out, they have anxiety, and then after an hour of energy healing, they just look like totally different people.
Yeah.
And that's what keeps me going and I keep doing this because of that, because I see the results and I see it very quickly.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I love that so much. And the thing that what I appreciate about you is that much of the things that, I mean, you're formally trained in so many different modalities, but what's really cool, as we've talked in the past, is that like whenever you do a training, you're like, oh, well, I already knew that. It's like, it was more of a validation of a download that you had intuitively versus just you acquiring knowledge that somebody else is giving you. And I think that's what makes you really, really special, is that you are not only, you know, just so service oriented, but you come to it from a place of trusting your intuition and allowing that intuition to be the service tool that you use. And instead of just acquiring knowledge and doing all this stuff, like you're tapping into your inner knower and you're expressing yourself through that, which is what gives you the results that you get, right?
Exactly, because your intuition taps into your ancient wisdom and it taps into all those other lifetimes where you worked so hard at something or practice diligently, and you can pull that into this lifetime through your intuition.
Yes. And what I just really love, you know, you and I were geeking out before we started recording about just like even just basic universal law, right? So there's a universal law of oneness that reminds us that we're all connected, right? And so I believe that we have this divinity, this divine source spirit that lives into me. It's the 0 point of divinity, God living inside of me. And we all have that. And so if we all have that, we're all connected, right? So when you say we get to tap into our inner knowledge, our inner wisdom, I believe it's not only just what we have acquired in this lifetime, but it's all lifetimes, all people. So the same wisdom that Albert Einstein tapped into is the same wisdom that I get to tap into. And when we recognize that, it's like, oh my gosh, like I can have access to anything that I'm willing to ask for and I'm brave enough to receive, right?
Yes.
We're not
Yes. And
limited. Go ahead.
there's so different ways of doing that too. I just recently read a book where I think I can't recall the name because I read so many books, but he talks about going through this doorway and meeting your future self
Yeah.
and asking your future self, how do I do what I want to do? How do I accomplish what I want to accomplish? And then your future self will tell you, and you come back to this timeline and do it.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I literally just recorded an episode about that from my GPT Sacred Coherence that can have you do that. Like you can actually, use that to ask your future self, like for advice and what should I do? And that's the thing. This beautiful probable future is here to guide us all the time. Like we we already know. Like in the quantum, there is no past, present, or future. There's just now. And so the
Yeah.
future, the probable future coexist right now. It's just a matter of, are we willing to tap into that frequency with our intention and our focus to be able to acquire that knowledge and then to trust that knowledge. And oh my gosh, this conversation can go so many different places. But what I would love for you to tell us is a little bit about some of the blocks that you have seen with clients and all of the modalities that you use, so that we can start to recognize, like, oh my gosh, like no wonder I have this happening. No wonder my manifestation is being blocked. No wonder I feel like crap. Like, go ahead and tell us a little bit about what you have found have been some of the biggest, I guess, energetic blocks and sources of those blocks over the years that you've been doing this.
I feel like our biggest block, and it may be ironic to say this, but it's our mind.
Yeah.
Our mind is the biggest block because our if we're too in the mind, which we are in the USA, okay, I'll speak for America.
Yes.
Everything's like, we're gonna think about it, and we're gonna think about it, and we're gonna think
Oh yeah.
about it, and we're gonna be like, we have monkey brain, and we can't turn it off, and
Yeah.
then the
Yeah.
result is you're stressed out. You can't connect to your feelings because your mind is dominating everything,
Yes.
and then your mind is creating feelings, and the thoughts are creating feelings that are not serving you either.
Right.
So
Right.
when a lot of what I see is a lot of people suffering from anxiety.
Yeah.
I feel like, I've been doing this for 11 years. I feel like people are becoming more sensitive collectively.
Hmm.
They're unable to block out things like they used to. And it's maybe because the collective overall is
Hmm.
changing and we
Yeah.
are all part of it. And so they're experiencing a lot of anxiety because they're picking up on things that they never did before and they don't know how to handle it.
Hmm.
And one
Yes.
of the main things I love talking about is our bodies are like antennas and we receive information, and not everything is coming from us.
Right. No, that's
We
totally
know,
true.
yeah, we
Yes.
know that as empaths. Empaths pick up on the feelings and energies of others,
Yes.
you
I
know?
literally was just talking about this the other day, how I was walking through an airport and I travel all the time. Like traveling does not stress me out. But I was walking through the airport and I'm on that like moving walkway and I just got so anxious, like so much heavy energy around my chest. And I'm like, this doesn't feel like mine. And I have this technology that I use. I think I've talked to you about it, Tina, where it helps me to manipulate energy. So what I did is I just used it. I put the erase feature on it. I put it on my chest. I erased those negative, anxious feelings from it, and then I imprinted the frequencies of love and calmness and peace and all the things. And I immediately noticed a shift because it wasn't mine. It was my biofield pulling it up into my my own perception from the people around me. It's crazy.
Yeah, one of the things that I teach empaths is always ask yourself if you do feel something all of a sudden,
Mm-hmm.
ask yourself, is this feeling coming from me?
Mm-hmm.
And if not, you can just simply say, this is not coming from me. This is not my feelings or energy to take on. And I'm going to just leave it here. I'm
Yeah.
just going to move on throughout my day and mind my business. Doesn't have anything to do with me.
Yes. I think somebody once told me, I thought this was great. It's right in the same lines, but like return to sender, like energetically, like say, yep, return to sender, not mine, not, not taking that today.
Yeah. And one of those, if you are sensitive like that or empathic like that, one of the things that I always recommend is to work on your aura, your energy field, and to shield your energy field. Beginners will shield. Once you get really good at it, you send energy out.
Yes.
So now I don't even shield anymore. I go into my heart and I send loving energy out all around me. And I figure that will just clear whatever needs to be cleared.
Yes. Yes. Because is such a strong energy that you are able to essentially, it's like so bright, right? That the rest of the crap can't come in. I love it. I mean, and people don't realize that all of those things are going to impact your day to day. Like if
Hmm.
I feel off, if I feel anxious, if I'm caught up in my monkey brain, like you're saying, and am just overthinking and consciously, just stuck in this chaos, I'm not going to be present with my kids. I'm not going to be super creative and coming up with amazing content. I'm not going to be able to get on that podcast and be articulate and make it all happen, right? Like we have to really channel in that calm energy before we can do. I always say we be and then we do so that we can have, right?
Right. And one of the things I learned from you that I actually practice now is being very intentional. Like I understand this. I've heard this concept for a very long time. But even before this podcast, I just sat with my intention and I know it was going to be great. Come on, like we don't even have to try when we're together.
Right.
But my intention was I would like to reach the people that need to be reached.
Yes.
And that's my intention for the podcast. So I think when you have something difficult coming up or like a difficult phone call to make, for example, to
Yes.
set that intention
Yes.
is so powerful. So I practice that because of you now.
Aw, I'm so glad. I'm so glad that you took something from our time together. That's amazing. So one of the things that you mentioned is, we can get these energetic blocks, and I'm just gonna kind of go into this a little bit because I think this is kind of a cool confirmation, I guess. Just like you were saying before, like when you hear something, it's like, oh yeah, that's what I've learned. And so when you were saying that, we can get into our own way by these mental blocks. And so oftentimes people try to overthink or outthink their current situation. But what people don't realize is that, just like Tina was saying, that we have this biofield. This biofield is kind of like a cell phone that taps into the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth and cellular service. It gives and receives information. So does our biofield. Our biofield gives out energy, our biofield receives energy. That's what we were talking about. But what's so interesting is that when we get caught up here, it impacts our ability to transmit this great biofield energy because it creates static. And so you want to make sure that your heart, your calmness, you're at the frequencies of love and joy and peace and gratitude, so that way that influences your brain. And if you can get yourself calmed down first, then you're actually going to think more clearly, because your blood flow is going to go away from the fight or flight places and into this able ability for me to have good cognition. People don't realize that we have more communication that goes from our heart to our head than our head to our heart. So if you can do what she was saying, guys, and calm yourself down first, you're going to be able to influence your heart or your mind from your heart first. And that's so cool. And so you were saying that the mind is obviously a block that people have, but what I think a lot of people don't realize is that we can have things like, for example, I'm going to list a couple I've noticed in the past is like childhood trauma. It might have even be inherited energetic blocks. You guys realize that like we literally inherit energetic blocks from our ancestors. It might be just like you were talking about from the consciousness as a whole. So tell us a little, let's start with childhood trauma, because I know that you work a lot with that, because those things can show up as energetic blocks as adults now.
Yeah, and because I'm clairvoyant, I can see forms and I can see visions when I'm working on people. And I've seen blocks over the chakras. The chakras are the energy centers of the body. I've seen like rectangular blocks over people. And I remember the first time I saw this years and years ago. And I said to the woman I was working on, I said, I see like a rectangular block over your heart. And she said, well, I'm not surprised by that. I said, okay, well, whatever you've been through, you put it there for your protection. Would you like to remove it? And she said, yes, I would like to remove it. And I said, okay. So I, ended up using Reiki to remove it. We call it
Yeah.
psychic surgery, pull it out, take
Yeah.
out all that energy, then you fill it up and seal it off. I never talked to the woman again, but also another way to see if your energy is compromised. I know a lot of people are tired, like
Yeah.
it's very common,
Right.
but some people come in. I had a client yesterday and her root and her sacral and her solar were barely moving.
Mm,
And she said she didn't feel tired, but I said, well, you're lucky because, this is barely moving here. And we
yeah.
want to get it nice and moving big and strong and fast. That's how our energy center should be circling. And so the beautiful thing about Reiki is that it does all of that pretty quickly. By the end of the session, everything was moving really big and strong.
So for those people who are listening, Tina, that are not super familiar with Reiki, why don't you break it down for us?
Okay, so Reiki, it means in Japanese universal life force. And so Reiki practitioners deliberately and consciously connect to universal life force and bring that energy down into our bodies, into our hearts, and then it flows out our hands, either back to ourselves or to someone else. And so it's a form of hands on healing, even though technically I don't have to touch you at all.
Mhm.
The energy flows, and then the energy flows where you most need it. And so it's a very relaxing, it's very healing. They've done studies on Reiki practitioners and they go into an alpha brain wave state.
Yep.
And then when I go into that state, my client goes into that state because there's entrainment.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
alpha brain waves is a meditative state, relaxing state.
Mhm.
So I like to tell people it's like I gave you a massage, but I didn't.
Yep.
I may have massaged your energy field, but
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
yeah, and the results are same and long lasting and sometimes permanent. It just depends.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you say that you're clairvoyant, like I just want to like tap into your own skill set. It's so cool. So Tina and I don't live near each other. I have had a beautiful couple of beautiful Reiki sessions from a gal locally that actually was set up in a church, which is really cool. So just for those of you guys who are listening who are like, I don't know about this, like this this is God's way for us to be able to tap into the energy that he uses to govern this universe. And so, knowing that, like, gosh, everything that you're saying, Tina, is like so rooted in love and service and all the things that it's like, it just feels so good. So tell us a little bit about like you and your own unique way that you do it.
Well, there are these abilities that we have, and I feel like all humans have them. Some are using them, some are not.
Mhm. Yeah.
And I feel clairvoyance is the ability to see. So you can see, you might get a picture, or you might get a vision like it looks like a mini movie reel,
Mhm.
or it could be an event in the client's life in the past. You know, it could be a happy moment. It doesn't have to be bad. It doesn't have to be scary. You
Mhm.
know, you could, I could see my client swinging in her backyard with her family friend pushing her. This is a true story. I've seen this.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I would relay that to her. But in that instance, she was stuck there.
Oh, okay. And so what would be the bad side of that? Like, tell me a bit about that.
So a part of her energy was still in that moment because she didn't want to leave that moment because it was
Okay.
such a happy experience.
Uh-huh.
But that imagine if you and all of us are like this. We're these multi-dimensional, amazing beings doing all these different things at once and all these different lives at once because you know everything's happening in the now. And you have all these pieces of energy stuck in all these other events, whether in this lifetime or another.
Yeah.
Well, that depletes your energy.
Mhm.
That makes you split. You know, it makes you feel like I'm missing something because, yes, my energy is still stuck in that moment.
Yeah.
And so, as in shamanism, which is I also practice, I can go and retrieve those energy pieces and bring it back to you. And the
Amazing.
result is you feel more integrated, more whole, and you have more energy.
Yes. Which is going to help us be more productive, more impactful in the world and doing what we're being called to do. And that makes complete sense that we have fragmented energies that are essentially depleting from the whole, depleting from the life force, the ability for us to show up and show up big. And so when you can basically go out and you gather, you
All
gather
the pieces.
all of the pieces and bring them back in and just kind of share with us, some really great stories that you've had from clients after you've worked with them and how they've, been able to take that transformation and show up differently.
Wow. Okay. With soul retrieval in particular?
Or just any of the ways that our energy can be scattered and how you've really been able to help people to make their life better and more impactful because you've been able to help them retrieve that.
Well, I can use myself as an example. And
Yes, please do.
a lot of these examples are also in my book called Into the Tree Journeying into the Spirit World. So there's a lot of shamanic journeys and soul retrievals that I've described in there. So you'll get a really good idea of what I
Yes.
see and what I experience and what happened. But I came to the conclusion that oftentimes when we have fears that don't seem to have a cause, they have a multidimensional cause to it.
Mhm.
So I remember as a child, you know how they used to teach you don't play with matches because you might start a fire. Well, I just took it to another level and wouldn't even touch a match, wouldn't even light a candle, was so afraid of it. And so I decided, well, I know that I have many, many lives on this planet and other planets. And I said, this has got to be something must have happened to me with fire. And so I decided to do a soul retrieval on myself and in the instances of where I died by fire.
Yeah.
And so I went to places, and this is the beautiful thing about soul retrievals is you'll go to the event and in one example, I was about to get burnt at the stake.
Mhm.
And then I walk into that event and I yelled to everybody, stop what
Okay.
you're doing. And I went and rescued myself off the pyre, took her with me, explained her to her who I was, and this is another aspect of me, and told her to come with me.
Mhm.
And so there's nothing more empowering than rescuing yourself from situations that
Right.
you were literally stuck in
Right.
and your energy was stuck in.
Yes. Yes, 100%. And it's so interesting. I want to keep going down that line because it's such a fascinating story. And I've experienced the same thing. Like we don't realize that we have these subconscious blocks that are blocking us. And I had the same, not to the degree that you did, but like something as simple as I was avoiding my inboxes, like, and it irritated with myself that I was avoiding my inboxes. Well, it turns out that I had this like fear of abandonment, that I was going to let people down if I couldn't help them in my inboxes, and I was overwhelmed by it. And that fear of abandonment came from this past life situation that I had where basically somebody left me, and I was able to take that experience and transmute it to a point where it's like now I no longer have that subconscious belief, and I'm able to function in a way that's higher than I ever could before. So like something so simple that I had, like I can't imagine how cool that was for you. So then are you able to, light candles and do all the things now?
Yeah, I mean, I had basically overcome it already. I mean, I actually love the smell of matches burning. It's ironic because I was so afraid of it before,
Yeah.
but I just felt like I wanted to explore this fear and I wanted to know where it was coming from. And
Mhm.
I wanted to release any energy that may be stuck around this.
Yes.
And I can't tell you, Lachelle, how amazing I felt afterwards.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And Tina, are you able to do anything virtually, or do they have to be with you in person?
No, I can if you're in I do distance Reiki and I can do shamanic journeys and soul retrievals remotely. So we just set up a mutual time and I'm not on the phone with you or anything. I just do the journey for you while you're in a relaxed state. And then I write up the journey and send it to you. And then we discuss if you have any questions.
That's so wild. You guys, are you hearing this? Like you can have healing from things like just by being aware, and um because I love energy and I love the science of quantum physics, like I understand that entanglement process and how you're able to do that. But you guys, like just trust me that this is so fascinating. Tina, what other, you know, parts of your journey, your own transformation, the things that you had in your book, do you really want to share with our audience today?
Well, one thing I want to mention about all of this is somebody out there might be thinking, what's the point? Like who cares if you're stuck and I think people are looking for answers and they want to understand themselves. And I think when you do this kind of multidimensional work,
Mhm,
things make sense.
mhm.
You can say, wow, that's why I was afraid of checking my inbox. And I
Right.
had no clue
Mhm.
why.
Right.
And then knowing that and understanding that is comforting
Mhm,
and validating.
mhm.
And sometimes just learning about it just clears it away like
Yes.
magic. You don't
Yes.
have to do anything special. You just know, and you're like, oh my God, that's why. And I can move on now.
Yes. Yes. You know, I think that what people oftentimes tell me, it's very much in alignment with what I've experienced myself, is that we might learn something. You might be listening to this episode and it's things, it's sparking things that you like you've never heard before or you've never done before, and you don't understand it, but for something inside of it just feels right. And that's kind of what you were saying. Like, I mean, you and I have had some wild, cool conversations, right? And it's like, I can't explain it. I don't know, but it's just like, there's just like this truth that just like settles into my soul. I'm like, I don't have to know how. I don't know, need to have to know why. I just know that this just feels right. And I want you guys to just like explore that, tap into that, because we can't all explain all of this stuff. Not everything is for us to know, but the thing I want you to start paying attention to is what feels like truth. Because at the very core of who you are is your soul who knows. And when your soul who knows says, that's right, you're going to feel it. And it might go take you down rabbit holes like I have with this whole like life that I have, I swear, is because of that. It's like, huh, that just feels right, but I don't understand it. And I just like went down some rabbit holes and here I am. Right. But it's really cool. And what you've shared with us today just feels like truth.
Yeah.
The life force is a real thing, you guys. And the people that listen to this podcast, Tina, just so you know, like they're people who are impact driven. They're people who are ready to change the freaking world. And they're ready to stop getting in their own way. They're ready to stop getting in God's way. And when we recognize that there are blocks that are holding us back, part of this lifetime might just be expecting this transformation by being aware and be like, I was spent. Okay. So I'm going to just, I don't want this to go on and on, but I'm just going to like share this with you guys because I think this is important. I've had several clients of mine who come to me and we do something a little bit different inside of Spiral Up. It's called E4 trauma method. It's different than what she's talking about, which I want to experience that, by the way. So side note. But what we do is we take people back to like the exact moment of a trauma and we neutralize it energetically and then we rewrite it, right, as truth. But I've had several people who have been able to go back in their memories. And it's not even like this has happened with 2 clients that I can think of off the top of my head, where they were literally in their parents' or grandparents' home, but they were experiencing it not from their body, but from their ancestors' body. So they were like their grandma looking out the window at her mom when she was little, kind of thing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So like she was in her grandma's body looking out the window at what would be her mom as a little girl. And basically was able to pinpoint this belief that was, I do not deserve to be happy and that I just need to grin and bear it. And what was able to happen from this space is that her grandma and her mom in spirit and consciousness were able to say thank you for the healing that you were able to do for us, because in past, present, and future, it's just now. And so their healing in that moment, their opportunity to rise to this occasion actually helped their ancestors be able to heal where they couldn't or weren't able to heal in their lifetime. And so you
Yes.
guys, I get goosebumps when I think about this because it's like you might be hearing this and your ancestors are like, I've led you to this place. I've led you to this podcast. I've led you to this awareness and this awakening that we're ready to be healed through you. And so you get to impact, and guys, not only the future probabilities of who you're impacting, but you're impacting the lineages behind you. You're impacting you now. You're impacting you as a 5-year-old little girl. And it's all because in the quantum, there is no past, present, or future. It's just now. And so you stepping up into this space and saying, I am ready to take my power back. I am ready to create transformation and healing, not only for me, but for everyone that is impacted by that. And this conversation might be kind of wild for some of you guys, and I totally get it. Listen to it again if you need to, but this is the kind of stuff that I've just been really, like, God keeps leading me down to keep learning more about. And like I said, coming back to like, it just, I don't understand it yet, but it just feels like, oh yeah, that feels like home. You know what I'm
Well,
saying?
yeah, when if your listeners might be wondering why do we need to do this? Why can't grandma do this in the spirit world? Doesn't she know everything? And there's a special power that we have being a soul and a body on planet Earth now. There are things that we can do now that our ancestors can't do. And that's a powerful thing. I mean, I've had my ancestors come to me to help them with things. And I'm like, why can't you do this yourself? I've asked this question. They said, we can't do it. We need you to help us. And
Yeah.
so you just help.
Yeah.
You just do it.
Yeah. And, you know, I just thought about this too. Like, you know, these particular incidences that I'm thinking about with these clients, not only did they help their ancestors, but they helped their generations, like their children, their children's
Yes.
children, like, I just like, you guys, like, we have this opportunity. It's so freaking cool. Okay, Tina, we could like talk forever and ever and ever, but like, is there anything else that you wanted to mention before we kind of wrap up this conversation?
Well, I want to share another personal story. this is exactly what you're talking about. And my mom passed away in December. She was 89. She didn't really understand what I did. I think most of my family don't. Um, but I have a friend who's a psychic medium, and she calls me out of the blue and she says, your mom's coming through and she has all these messages for you. And I told her that she could tell you herself, but she's insisting that I tell you. And I said, okay, well, what did she say? And she said a bunch of things. And then she said, your mom wants you to know that she wants to thank you for all the work you did on the family
Oh,
and healing the family line. And that made me cry because
makes me
uh,
tear up too.
oftentimes we don't get recognized for this work.
Right.
And even if your family doesn't understand it, they may understand it. They'll understand it someday and they'll get it. But that was such a beautiful validation from my mom, who thought I was such a puzzle and an enigma my entire life.
Yes. Yes, and in spirit, she's like, "Oh, I get it now." Because you're tapped into that spiritual side of yourself, and that's what's
Mhm.
so cool. And we get to break chains. We get to break chains. We get to be, and people, like you said, they don't even know because it just is. Like
Mhm.
I don't understand what's different, but you do because you're intentional behind it, and it's so cool. You guys
Yep.
make sure that you check out everything that we have inside of the show notes around Tina. We'll make sure that we have access to your book in there. I know that you have a Reiki class that you're going to be teaching in person here coming up. I think that there are so many things, and your podcast, of course. Your podcast
Yes.
is called what
Voices
again?
of Voices of Healing podcast. I've been super busy with it. I've done over 70 interviews already, and it's been less than a year.
Yes. So you
Yeah,
guys, it's so fun. And so make sure that you check out all things about Tina. Girl, I'm so grateful that you're here, and I'm so grateful that I got a chance to get to know you better through being a part of the Spiral Up program. And I just am really, really just grateful for your time today. So
me too. I'm grateful you're here with me on the planet right now. I'm super grateful.
yay. All right, you guys, we'll see you next time. Bye everybody.
So much for listening. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe and leave a review. Each honest review helps me spiral up so that I can serve you even better. Whether you're feeling a lack of impact, income, or time freedom, or perhaps you're just ready for massive momentum in your business, let's chat. Apply for a breakthrough call so that you can gain clarity, identify what's holding you back, and make a plan to spiral up. Head on over to im-lifebydesign.com/breakthrough or access the link in the show notes. For immediate support, log into our community, the Better Club. We focus on inspiration, tactical guidance, and support. This is a community that wants to be better, do better, and have better in life and in business, and we're going to help you do the same. Let's spiral up, friends.